Sign language in Dune is a huge thing. So yeah, you're doing the
like
hand
baseball
sign.
signals.
Yeah, yeah.
Taking my
So
cap
you're
off.
doing that.
He's either
Yeah,
a smuggler or he told me to steal third. I'm not sure which.
Either way, I'm going to jump off this cliff and find home base. No.
Hello and welcome to the RPG Academy Twitch channel. My name is Michael, and we're here tonight for another episode of the Sample Adventures. This is the aptly named title or aptly titled streaming show where we play through various RPGs using the sample adventure that is included in the game book, or in this case, a quick start, to explore and interact with the game rules and the world. Tonight, I will be playing Corbin Bralik, who is a reformed spice smuggler. And of course, again, I'm Michael at the RPG Academy. I did that in the completely wrong order, but that's okay. We're going to go to Big Al next. Big Al, introduce yourself and your character, please.
Well, hello, I'm Alan, Big Al Nicholas, and I am playing Sharah Fell, a Mentat.
Excellent. And then on my screen, we will go next round to Kevin.
So yes, thank you so much. I'm Kevin, and I am playing Anna Margrave, who is a Bene Gesserit novice.
Excellent. And then last but certainly not least, Kaylee.
Hi, I'm Kaylee, and I'm playing Talia Carell. She's a criminal up here, or over here, whatever. Nope, you can't see me because of a green screen effect. Yay! Over here, this way, that way. Whatever.
Yeah. Excellent. And then leading us through this adventure tonight is Caleb, my favorite co-host, and yours, the Caleb G. Caleb, say hello to everyone, introduce yourself, and then just sort of kick us off however you would normally run an adventure.
All righty. Howdy, cats and kittens. The Caleb G here. Pleasure to be in the lead narrator seat on tonight's Dune stream. We have been trying to get this game put together for like a year, I think, and life sucks. So here we are. I am exceedingly glad to not only be playing this game, but playing it with this fine group of people. We've been really excited for this for a very long time, and Dune is just such a great series. So we are going to play the pre-written starter adventure from the quick start guide called Wormsign. There were a couple different starter adventures we could have picked, and I like this one best. So that's what we're doing. This adventure is going to take place on Dune itself, the planet Arrakis. We are in the timeline here immediately before the Atreides are taking possession of Dune. The Emperor Shaddam IV has already handed control of Dune to the Atreides from the despicable Harkonnens. If you've watched that fantastic new version of the Dune movie, we are right after the Atreides took control with the Herald of the Change, and right before they land on the planet. So we're in this nice little sweet spot where Duke Leto of House Atreides has sent an advanced guard to Arrakis to start kicking out the Harkonnen rabble-rousers, start assessing the equipment they have left behind, start assessing the castles that they will be inhabiting. Thufir Hawat, the Atreides Mentat, is on Dune right now, leading efforts with some of his own personal troops and a vast array of different people from the Atreides household. Gurney Halleck, Leto's warrior troubadour, is not on planet, but he has sent some of his own men as well. So there's a lot happening. Let's, if we imagine the camera coming down from space and panning over Dune, this desert planet, the only place in the entire universe where spice can be found, spice being, of course, the most valuable substance in the universe. We're going to zoom down, and we are going to start with I think we'll start with Shahara or Sharah. Sharah, tell us a little bit about how you started working for Thufir.
Well, I am Sharah, and I am a very, very newly minted Mentat. I've just gotten
Recording
out
in
of the Mentat
progress.
school.
Remember that?
Yeah, I do remember it. It's fantastic. And so once I got out of the Mentat school, the Atreides
We just
purchased
lost
my
Kaylee.
services, which made me extremely happy because I was happy to work for such a noble house. But then I started working under Thufir Hawat, which made me really scared because he's like legendary. And
He is a legendary Mentat. He has been in the game for generations.
So he intimidates the heck out of me. But I'm still excited to be here on Dune, on the most important planet in the galaxy, working for this noble house.
So I think it's safe to say that probably Thufir has a couple interns. I don't know what we want to call them. But he specifically chose you to come to Dune with him on this advanced mission for the Atreides. So that's both intimidating and amazing.
That's right.
So you know a little bit about what's going on. Thufir has briefed you, and of course, with your Mentat abilities, you're able to kind of think at that computer-like speed about what's happening. You know that you are being sent into the Viper's Den. You know that the Harkonnens have been holding Dune forever. You know that when the Emperor switched control, it was terribly contested. You know that the Harkonnens are likely planning to attempt assassinations and sabotage at every twist and turn. So you also know that it's your job to prevent all of that.
And at the expense of my nerdhood, I would say, to quote from a completely different franchise, "It's a trap!"
Definitely a trap. Everybody knows it's a trap. Cool. So you are working in probably one of the Atreides kind of forward bases. They have been scrubbing the Harkonnens' former residence, but you're probably staying in a little base off campus, so to speak, with some of the other soldiers. You're not working directly with Thufir. He's bouncing all around, so you've kind of got your own little sphere of control here. The camera zooms out from you, and it zooms actually into the name is escaping me at the moment, but into the castle that the Atreides are going to live in. And it zooms in on Anna. So, Kevin, why don't you tell us a little bit about what Anna is doing and how she ended up here on Dune?
Absolutely. Currently, she is standing very still as she is looking out onto the wide expanse of the surface of Dune in preparation for the moments ahead. This, like any other moment, is a moment of control, and Anna takes this moment to self-reflect. Anybody else who would look at her would see her not moving, but she knows that there is 1,000 things that blur through her mind as well as through her muscles that she controls in this moment. She came to this planet because she is actually one of the handmaidens of the Lady Jessica. So she has been sent here by the High Mother herself to make sure that the Lady Jessica is successful in her goals. And because of this, Anna has had a certain level of comfort in the house on the Atreides' actual homestead. And because of this, she actually is privy to some of Lady Jessica's secrets, but apparently not all, because there are rumors that there are things that are afoot, and she's trying to figure out what that is.
Yes. So you were part of the crew assigned to prepare for Lady Jessica's arrival. Lady Jessica being Duke Leto's consort. They are not officially married, but Leto has taken no bride from any of the other great houses. He remains single and ready to mingle when it comes to ruling authority in this universe. Over the past few years, Leto has been rising in popularity. He is known throughout the universe in great favor. People are attracted to his natural charisma, to his love of the people. People are loyal to him simply because of how magnanimous he is. And politically, since he has remained unwed, he is still a prime candidate for the political arranged marriage spinning negotiation, however we want to call that. He's an handsome target that a lot of people are after, but he's got the hots for Lady Jessica, so he's going to stick with her. Anna, you are one of several other Bene Gesserit novices that have been sent here, each with the same general orders and instructions from Lady Jessica, but you've each been given kind of some private orders as well. Mostly you are working with Thufir's men to make sure the house is completely free of booby traps, spies, poison dart shooters, recording devices, all that kind of stuff. Your duties have mostly kept you inside. However, several times you have ventured outside, either in the city or out into the desert, although that is a little bit more rare. It's not foreign to you to go out of the castle on a more active mission, but you are mostly inside doing spycraft things.
Of course.
The Bene Gesserits always operate on multiple levels simultaneously. So your mind is always kind of thinking a little bit about what's going on. So the camera will zoom through the castle and the new Atreides domain and come out through a window. We'll see that great cinematic shot of Dune. I feel like the sun is coming up right at this moment. So we've got this wonderful shot of the sunrise, of that glare off of the desert. Possibly there's something moving in the deep desert. You're not sure. It might just be a mountain. It might be a mirage, or maybe it's a giant ass worm. You don't know. But then we will zoom down into the landing field, some of the equipment fields of the Atreides, and two figures are working on a thopter, the kind of bug-like flying devices of the Dune universe. One of them is an older gentleman. The other one is a younger figure. Let's talk to Corbin first. Corbin, Dune has some sad memories for you, doesn't it?
It does. So yeah, so I look like a pretty trim and well-kempt 50-year-old, definitely salt and pepper, and my longish hair is pulled back. You can't see that it's in the ponytail because of my hood covering, but it's, you can see the widow's peak pulled back, and I've got some facial hair to match. I am a very wealthy, or was a very wealthy smuggler. So when the Harkonnen were running Dune, I was running spice a lot right alongside of them without their knowledge. They probably know me. The Whispers of the Wind Whisperer was like my smuggling name. Unfortunately, they caught wind of what I was doing, and I sought refuge in House Atreides. And it's like the worst kept secret that I'm a former smuggler who's been brought into service. And it was all well and good until, hey, you get the planet back, and guess who knows the planet very well? This guy. So the Wind Whisperer has been returned to was it Arrakis? Again, I don't know.
Arrakis, yeah.
But yeah, so I'm doing the most completely not suspicious at all, keeping the hood up at all times motif, because if any of these Harkonnen goons who are still running around get a good look at me, I may be murdered before this officially gets taken over. So I'm doing everything I can to keep my head down, not looking at anybody, not talking to anybody, just kind of getting the work done because I need them to leave before they know who I am.
Gotcha. So I think you know Thufir very well. Thufir, that very old, intimidating tactician Mentat in the employ of the Atreides family. You've heard his name whispered throughout the universe while you were a smuggler. He has a huge reputation of being the best of the best, deadly at spycraft. Any of his agents are feared. He himself is a terror on the battlefield. Of course, he's rather old now, but he still is wise in his tactics. He is still deadly and vengeful. So when he sent you a message to say, come to my office, it was a little scary, but he was basically quizzing you about the planet. So multiple times he has asked you sometimes really weird questions that make no sense to you whatsoever, but you're like, okay, well, he's a Mentat, so he's just doing his thing. But yeah, you are back on this planet, like it or not, because
do not like it. Do not like it.
Well, when you're loyal to the Atreides, you do what the Atreides say.
Exactly. Yes, I'm loyal for now.
And our last figure here, very near to Corbin with what he is working on, is probably a younger, slimmer figure, Talia. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing.
Yeah, Talia's in her probably young 20s at this point. She has surprisingly pale skin for somebody who is a native to Arrakis and who has lived in Arrakeen, the capital city, for her entire life. She is sitting underneath the Thopter on the anti-sunward side, using its shade to kind of keep cool. And she has a knife that she is very carefully sharpening. The blade having a green glass, green glass tube running up the middle that she very carefully is avoiding with some sort of purpose. Yeah. And she's listening to Corbin as he just bitches about everything, the heat, the humidity, even though it's a dry heat, he's still bitching about the humidity and the fact that he's got sand everywhere. And she's just making occasional, yep. She is sporting a rather impressive bruise on one cheek from a scrap the night before in the local bar. And a little bit of a headache from the hangover that she got after the scrap in the local bar. But she's sitting there because she's worked a lot with Corbin since he's come back, and because he's one of her contacts that helps get things moved.
Yeah, I'm very performatively complaining as if I've never been here before.
100%.
It's so over the top. It's sand. It gets everywhere. I hate it.
And Talia is just
it's
so coarse.
Yep, it is absolutely the worst. Even though she knows he's been here before, she's been with him before on this planet, but you know what? She's been assigned to work with him now that he's kind of assigned to the Atreides, and so she owes the Atreides a bit of debt, and not like monetary debt, but they gave her a purpose and kind of took her off the streets, and well, their goals align right now. They get a beautiful new planet to rule over now that they're kicking the Harkies out, and she gets possibly to rule the streets one day. So everybody washes everybody else's back with some low grit sand.
Cool. So speaking of an assignment and a mission, now that we have met our four characters, we will jump forward in time momentarily, a little bit later this same morning, and that Thopter that was being prepared is now flying across the desert, and all four of you are inside. The sun glares off the Thopter windshield as you crest over the immense stone wall that surrounds the city of Arrakeen. Before you stretches an ocean of sand, a vast desert that covers the entire planet of Arrakis. While the cockpit is air-conditioned, you can see the shimmer of heat haze rising from the waves of dunes ahead of you, stretching beyond the horizon. You have set off today to investigate reports that a group of
Spice mice.
Disney owns Dune now.
Spice smugglers might be operating in an area your house, the House Atreides, has contract to harvest spice. It is your job to find their base and, if possible, put a stop to their activities. However, spice smugglers can often have useful contacts, and occasionally the loss of a little spice can be worth a new ally. So the four of you are crammed into this Thopter cockpit. And my first very important question of the game, who's piloting this ship?
Who's flying this thing?
So I guess mechanically, because part of this is we also want to explain the rules of the game. What
Yes.
skill or attribute would determine who's good at flying things?
So in the Modiphius 2d20 system, characters have drives and skills, and we combine those when we are making skill checks, and it's a roll under system to determine if you are how successful you are in effort. A skill that would both the drives and the skills are very broad, and it's very narrative focused in how you choose to use them. So the skill that would most likely be used for piloting would be move. However, depending on events, probably any skill could be argued to be used for piloting. Move can also refer to how you are jumping over something or balancing or walking on the sand. Battle could be shooting somebody, punching somebody, outthinking somebody. It's kind of like that aggressive skill. It could even be used in negotiations, aggressive negotiations, some might say occasionally. Characters also have focuses connected to their skills. Focuses reflect more of a focused training. So if anyone has a focus about piloting or ships, that would indicate you have done it before. But frankly, you've all probably gotten some basic flight training in your careers. Corbin, I would say as a smuggler, you've got prime piloting
I was
experience.
If no one else wants to, I can say that I'm flying. I think it kind of fits my character as well. But if someone has like piloting as a skill, feel free. Otherwise, I'll say that I'm doing it.
Yeah.
No, I think that makes sense for you to do it.
Okay.
Right now, Talia is in the seat behind Corbin with her legs stretched out and her boots are like up on the back of his headrest. So she's conked out and not paying any attention. So she's definitely not going to fly.
Okay. So, Corbin, as we are starting this scene, and as a note, this system, along with most other of the Modiphius 2d20 systems, kind of operates by scenes. So in our first scene, we are moving out of Arrakeen into the desert, and I will indicate as we move through scenes here. So in this first scene, I would like you to make a move test to see how well you are piloting the ship.
Okay. And so is that just against the move, or do I pick a drive to combine it with to roll?
So we would, this is an excellent first lesson here. When we are making a test or a skill check in this system, you pick a drive and a skill and add those numbers together.
Okay.
So a drive is much more of a philosophical, what is driving? Baby, don't hurt. Yep. Wait, we're on Twitch. Terms of service. Yeah, so this is your motivation. This is your philosophy. This is your mindset on the world. Really, there's no wrong answer here. If you look at your character sheet, some of the drives do have statements. Think of those kind of like aspects from fate. Not that you are invoking them to do something, but they may inspire your choice.
All right. So
and
looking at
then
mine, I think my power because my statement is that I can rely on myself, and I'm kind of like the same way. I don't like for other people to drive. Like if I'm in a car,
Sure.
I want to be the one driving. So I kind of feel like
Sure.
I'm driving because I don't want you to.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right. So
And
together that would be a 14 total. So I need
Okay.
to roll under that, correct?
Right. So you're going to start with 2d20.
Nice.
Pick up 2 dice. The difficulty test here is a 0.
Okay.
So this means you cannot fail the test. You're not going to crash the
Challenge
ship.
accepted.
If you somehow get
Please.
negatives, no. So you're not going to fail, but this is really a test to see how well you're doing. In the 2d20 system, successes over the target number grant you momentum.
Okay.
And momentum is a resource that the entire party can spend to buy additional dice, buy off negative situations, add positive situations, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Right now, the momentum pool is at 0.
Okay.
I have a threat pool currently at 8 because I start with threat for all of you.
Mhm.
And then you can choose to add to the threat pool if you don't have enough momentum to add a die. It's a give and take.
Okay.
It's an ebb and flow.
Right.
So you've got 2 dice in front of you right now. If you would like to buy more, since there's no momentum, you would add to the threat, giving me more resources to potentially use against you.
Okay. So you know how I said challenge accepted?
Yeah.
All right. I shit you not. I rolled 2 natural 20s on my 2d20s.
Oh boy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that happened.
Okay, cool.
Well, that was the game for tonight, folks.
Yeah,
Thanks for listening to the Sample Adventures. We'll see you next time. No. So
Fastest TPK time
Wow.
in history.
Wow.
So in the system, when you roll a 20, since this is a roll under system, a 1 is a critical success, and a 20, I'm not going to use the word failure, but it adds complications.
Okay.
So I'm going to say what has happened here is your thopter develops a malfunction.
All right.
So you're all flying here, and suddenly warning lights start flashing on the dashboard, and some alarms start going off.
All right. I'm gonna like bump Talia's foot off the back of my chair. Did you not hook up the converters?
Of course I hooked up the converters. We couldn't get off the ground if I didn't hook up the converters.
Well, then they came loose because look at my dashboard. They're inverted.
They are not in
calculations. There's a 79% chance that this is in fact.
Never tell me the
That'll help.
odds.
You know, I have the feeling that this is some sort of trap. I was perfectly happy being asleep, and now here we are just flying. Are we falling out of the sky?
Yeah. I'm sorry that our imminent death is inconveniencing your nap time, but I could use some help.
What do you want me to do? Applaud?
Fix it.
Oh, sure. I'll whip out this mechanic out of my pocket. Oh, here it is. Can I attempt I wish to attempt the tech support's final option and whack the dashboard to try and get it to work long enough for us to get to where we're
Turn it
going.
off and turn it back on.
No, I'm not going to do that. We're flying. Are you insane?
Currently,
I'm gonna hit it.
currently we're
Assume the crash
falling with
position.
style. We
I'm
don't
going to
have
use
a whole lot of
percussive
time.
maintenance.
All right. Yeah, we can definitely do that.
This feels like a battle to keep us alive, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
what drive do you think might go with that?
oh, power, because I'm laying into this thing.
Okay. So add together your power and your battle.
Okay, so I need to roll under a 14 or power and under a 15. Okay, and as long as one of the dice do, I'm okay.
So I'm also going to call this a difficulty 0.
Okay.
So yes, any successes will help you.
Okay, I rolled an 8 and a 16, so I have 1 success.
Perfect. So as Talia kind of shoves her way to the control board, smacks a couple things around, reconnects some wires, you're probably fiddling around under the panel. you are able to stabilize the Thopter so that you are not crashing, but you must land immediately.
We're definitely going to land.
Thopters are very much like big giant mechanical dragonflies. So you are able, a combined effort between the both of you to essentially lock the wings into a stable position and use them to glide down. Thankfully, there is no sandstorm right now. There's no sandstorm on the horizon unless the winds sweep one up out of nowhere. But the Thopter is thoroughly toasted as you collide into the sand of Dune and probably skid a couple hundred yards and spin a little bit. The Thopter thunks to a halt on a rock, and you've all landed.
I seal my still suit right away.
Speaking of still suits, you are all equipped with non-Fremen made still suits, so they're fine. They're commercially made, so to speak, but they're not
Acme Corp.
They're not the good ones. But they'll take care of you.
Mine says Acme. That's fine, right?
Yeah, it's totally fine. If anyone is unaware what a still suit is a fantastic piece of technology. It is a total body suit that allows you to reclaim all of your body's moisture here in this desert planet. So none of it escapes, and you are able to recycle all of your waste products during the day and stay alive. And the water tastes fine, even though it's kind of warm and brackish. But that's why people on Dune kind of stink.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why we have spice, which smells real good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. So I'm going to assume loudly that this is some sort of Harkonnen sabotage act. They're just trying to like screw us over, even though it's probably my fault. And then I'm going to start seeing if I can fix the ship.
You said we're on a rock, right?
You collided like into a rock.
So Anna is going to slowly stand, open the side door, and step out into the sand, looking around to see how much damage we have taken.
So the first thing that hits you is just a wall of heat and light. No matter how many times you leave Arakeen, the desert always is just oppressive. You probably grew up, I don't think you grew up on Caladan, but you probably came to Caladan, which is the Atreides' home planet, at a young age to work with Lady Jessica.
Mm-hmm.
That planet is lush. That planet is temperate. It is water. It is gorgeous forests. It's mild and temperate. There's no hot jungles. There's no really hot summers. The people you work with now don't understand the concept of a river, let alone an ocean.
Mm-hmm.
If you tell someone, oh yeah, we would go to the ocean in my youth in the summers, what is an ocean? And you would say, we're just tons of water. What the hell do you mean? Like they cannot mentally comprehend where you grew up, the memories you have, the experiences you have. And every time you enter the desert, the heat and the light, that just kind of brings that memory to mind that you're on a planet so foreign where their mindset 100% of the time is survival. There is no relaxing at home. There is no comfort. There is, how do I get through this day?
Right.
Committed to that 100%. So you look around, you've seen worse crashes. None of you were injured. The craft itself is still sound. None of the windows were broken. The landing struts are jacked up real bad. The wings were locked in position to glide down. That's going to be real hard to fix without, a full overhaul in the garage bay. It would be a miracle to get it off the ground at this point.
Okay. So I take a quick look around. Luckily, I have my veil upon my face, so that keeps any sand from entering into my nostrils or my mouth. I'm going to slowly turn. I'm going to duck back into the inside of the thopter. Luckily, we did not spring a leak or have any sort of damage to the gas line, so therefore we have no danger of explosions. Is there anything I can do to be of aid?
So at this point, I would assume if we can't repair it without like assistance, is this a call for help situation? Do we need to like go wandering into the desert looking for help, or is this like a call the cavalry and have someone come pick us up?
So you know that going into the desert is a bad idea. You know that outside of the city walls, that is Fremen territory. You know that the Fremen are deadly. The desert is deadly. You know there's no hope to be found. You can radio back to the Atreides base and ask for help. But you also know that you were sent out here on a mission. And even though the ship has crashed, you could still try to complete the mission while you wait.
Well, so at least it makes sense to me to go ahead and call for like a pickup, but
Sure.
like we can assume that it's going to take them a while to get here so we can continue the mission, but we're not going to wait till we're done before we call for help.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so you can radio back and you use, Atreides battle language codes to indicate your position, so any Harkonnen spies wouldn't know where you are immediately. But something comes to mind specifically very quickly to oh dang, what's your character's name, Al?
Sharah.
Sorry, yeah. So something comes to mind very quickly to Sharah. You are in the open desert. What else is in the open desert?
The worms.
And you just had a big old collision onto the sand.
Yeah, Sharah is going to recommend to everybody that we get out of the thopter and onto this rock as soon as possible. And
we're
then
between a rock and a hot place.
yeah, we have most certainly called a worm. It's almost impossible that this kind of wreck would not attract one. The amount of reverberations from hitting the sand multiple times and skidding and slamming into this rock. There's a worm coming, so we need to get out of this thopter and onto the rock.
I will listen to the smart person, which is obviously not me. So yes, we will get on the rock.
Grab my pack of gear and head out and get to the nearest rock.
And I will cautiously, slowly follow them onto the rock as well. Everybody will see, everybody being the audience will see now that I am considerably shorter than everyone else. I'm very petite. I look like I am just over 5 feet tall, very thin and lithely built. You can maybe even mistake me for a child or a preteen maybe, but I have a veil on, so you can't exactly see my face to see what age I might be.
So you all exit the thopter. You have your personal equipment with you. You also have some basic survival equipment that the thopter was packed with that you can easily carry with you. And I would like everyone to make a discipline test. So this is going to be a difficulty 2. Meaning you need at least 2 successes to pass this test. This is a test to observe your environment and make some determinations about the next steps and your mission overall.
Is this 2 between all of us or 2 each of us?
So we have a couple options of what we could do. You could each make this test separately, or one of the rules we could take advantage of is a combined test where one of you is essentially the lead character and the other folks roll to assist.
Let's do that.
I like that because I'm pretty sure we have a very disciplined mind here in the group.
Yeah, my
All right.
discipline is top notch, baby.
All right, so I'm going to take a stab here and say that Sharah is probably our lead roller.
Yeah, we got this.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Everyone else, you are still going to make a discipline test. So pick one of your drives to add to your discipline. You are going to roll 1d20 and try to roll under that sum. So, Al, before you make Sharah's roll, let's go around the horn here. Michael.
Success.
I
got a 3 that time. Under 10.
Nice. Actually, that may give us an interesting new part of the rule here. Let's look at your character sheet real quick, because one of the things with these systems, characters also have focuses. And if a focus, which is kind of like skill training, specifically applies and you roll under that number, it's 2 successes. So Corbin has 2 focuses that I think could very easily apply here. But I think smuggling is going to be the most sense, because part of smuggling is surviving, observing, situational awareness.
I'll allow it.
Good, because we got 2 successes right now. Kevin.
Well, I am curious because my character, one of her talents is that she has pranabindu conditioning, which is whenever she does a discipline test that could rely on the control of her body, she can re-roll if there's a she can re-roll a single d20.
Yes.
So could I potentially do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I needed to roll below a 12 and I rolled an 18. So here I am re-rolling and getting an 11. So
perfect.
Well used, I suppose.
All right. So yeah, pranabindu conditioning is basically that special Bene Gesserit body control training. So I would say in this moment, you're probably still a little off kilter from the crash.
Of course.
But
yes.
The Bene Gesserits are perfect body control. So you recognize that with the inner eye, reset yourself and look again, reassess your situation. So we've got 3 bonus successes here coming into it. Kaylee, what can Talia do for us?
Can I screw it up at this point? I mean, that seems to be our pattern. I mean,
if you roll a 20.
Well, here we go. So my discipline is a 5. And, well, I'm letting the hyper-aware people take points, so that requires a little bit of faith, even though that's not really my strong suit. So that's going to be a total of 12 I have to roll under, and that is an 11. So very close.
All right.
But I put my faith in my companion here.
Well, Sharah, you've got 4 bonus successes coming into this check.
No pressure then, right?
Yeah.
So my discipline is like I said, top notch. It's a 7. I do have a focus in it of command, which probably applies.
Yeah.
And then I'm really kind of debating on my drive though. There's I'm trying to figure out if I've become too convinced that there's sabotage everywhere. And I think I probably have, which would throw me into the justice.
Yeah.
So that's an 8. So I've got to get below a 15.
And you got 2 d20s to roll.
And I've got 111 and 117. So 1 success.
Perfect. So you have 5 successes with the help of your team here.
Go team.
And so this was a difficulty 2. So that gives you 3 net successes on top of that. Those are going to go into your momentum pool. You had 1 in there from when Corbin was piloting. So as a group, you now have 4 momentum, which on anyone's turn, that is a resource to be used to buy extra dice or give you benefits. So the 4 of you work together. I think some of you probably break out I forget what they're called, fancy space binoculars. You take some readings, you compare some visuals. No, that's not a thing. That's a different thing. And you debate back and forth a little bit, but you figure out where you are.
That's no Dune.
It's a space station.
Well, as long as it's not a worm.
Right.
Yeah.
So you know that you are on.
Caleb,
Huh?
I hate to be a spoil sport, but I'm
Yeah.
looking at the DM's what's it called?
Quick start guide.
No,
Look.
Wait, are we supposed to
Instructions?
know the rules? Shit.
The
And it notes
GM
that
screen,
on
one might say.
assistance- Yeah, I've got a screen here, and it notes that on assistance rolls, momentum cannot increase.
Oh, biscuits. Okay. I was wrong. Never mind.
Well, that's a bummer.
I mean,
Oh,
I
thank
wanted
you.
us to be badass, but
Thank you for telling me.
we should
GM's
let
pet.
people know what the rules are. And
I remembered you could not spend momentum for an assist roll, but I must have missed that part when I was reading. Thank you, Al. Thank you for
Thank
Yeah,
you,
Al. Thank you, Al.
We get one F-bomb, and I might be using it against you, my friend.
I wish Michael was here. The other Michael was here, because then we'd try it in multi-part harmony.
Well, I want everybody to remember that there's an old Bene Gesserit saying, which is when the sandworm thing shows up, we don't have to be faster than it. We have to be faster than Al's character. Okay?
Yep.
All I'm going to say.
Good point. And those hamstrings are very obvious to anyone with a
Yes.
knife.
As the prophecy befold.
Yes. Yes.
Foretold.
Foretold.
Yeah.
That's God, words.
words are hard.
English is a hard language.
English is hard, rules are hard, but here we are having fun, so we're doing it right.
That's
Never
it.
Whoa! Look at
Wow.
that phrase. Look at that.
Ooh.
Right
So,
on board. Right on time.
Take a drink. We'll move on. So you are on a smallish rocky outcropping. It's not like an island of rocks. There's others around you, but you are in the desert. The city is not nearby. There are kind of lines of rocks all around you. There's just different outcroppings you could get to. But what you also see is that there is a group of tents a little ways off. There is a larger outcropping that at its base you can see, not its base, but kind of halfway up, you can see an entrance to a cave. And on top of this outcropping, you can see the domes of tents. And you recognize them as survival tents that are typically used in the deep desert.
Good thing they weren't past tense.
Yeah, we don't want to use those.
I mean,
future tense.
I mean, I'm worried about everybody inside because, for all intents and purposes, from this distance with our handy dandy space binoculars, can we tell anything about the tents? Do they look like Acme made or are they Fremen made?
You recognize them as typical survival tents one of your compatriots would have used. They do not appear to be Fremen tents.
Acme Corporation, yes.
Acme Corporation, yes. And as you all remember, you were sent out here to locate some smugglers that lived in this, that were probably in this general direction. It's a fair bet that these are the smugglers.
Talia kind of was like, well, there's a bit of luck. I think the people we are looking for are just over on that outcropping. The bad news is they also probably know that we are here due to the resounding crash, boom, and slithering of our vehicle across the sand, and then the grinding crunch of it hitting the rock. Good job, Corbin.
It's damn Harkonnen thugs.
If I may, whenever I enter a scene, I have a talent called passive scrutiny that allows me to ask one question to the game master, as if I had spent momentum to obtain information about the scene.
Okay.
So I'm curious, is there any sign from any people? Do we see people having a reaction negatively? Like, are they going to come attack us because they've heard us? Can I tell anything about their body language? If I see people.
At this distance, you do see people moving. but you cannot clearly identify any type of aggressive stances or aggressive action, but it is clear to you that they have seen you, and this will not be a stealthy approach. But you do not believe, based on your knowledge of smugglers and logic of living in the desert, that they would strike out towards you to start a fight. They would likely hole up, set defenses, and see what happens. But with that, we will move on to our second scene, which is figuring out what you want to do next.
Well, point of order. So we were sent out here to locate smugglers.
Yeah.
Is there an assumed that locate also means like murder all these people, or like try to bring them into the fold, or try to tell them, hey, you can't be smuggling no more? Like, what was our purpose for locating them?
I was gonna say it kind of depends on how we approach it.
Yeah.
We can either, maybe the enemy of the enemy is our friend, or you guys are gonna screw the Atreides. Well, we'll wipe you out to a man.
So the Atreides are known as being just and righteous. They're not quite paladins, but they're pretty close. So the Atreides are also known for winning over the love and loyalty of their foes. Duke Leto is a kind man, but also swift to righteous anger when needed. So you were not sent out on a murder mission.
Okay.
You were basically sent out to see, hey, what are these smugglers doing? They're lifting some of our spice. Do we have to knock them out and kill them? Or could this be a beneficial relationship? Or do we just need to tell them to quit and go home and never do it again? Bad boys. Like, it really depends on who they are and how big their organization is and how they react to you.
Okay. So we're going to start with negotiations, possibly aggressive negotiations.
Sure.
If you do negotiations properly, they do not need to be aggressive.
Well, sometimes the appropriate way to negotiate is aggressively. So vis-a-vis transitive properties, wrong.
Noted.
All right. So as this scene opens immediately following that last one, you are standing there at the wreck of the Thopter. You've seen this base. It's a short walk, but of course, any short walk through the desert is grueling. Sharah, you know something immediately. Just like you knew that this crash absolutely has attracted the attention of a worm, you know that walking across the desert is going to continue attracting the attention of the worm. And you know that, as the Fremen say, you must walk without rhythm.
Oh, I got that covered.
I think dang it, I can't remember who the musical act is from the 90s that also said that.
Fatboy Slim.
About rhythm.
Fatboy Slim with Christopher Walken in the music video.
Right. That's right. Actually, what I'd like to do is, you said we have like strings of rocks here and there. I'm kind of curious as to whether or not there's a path, like skipping rocks, like you would cross a stream by jumping from rock to rock.
So there is not a path you could easily follow just by easily man-made jumps from rock to rock. You could move quickly for short distances across the desert sand from one outcropping to another. You would be moving in like a zigzag, serpentine, very indirect route to this outcropping that is your current destination. But it would limit your contact with the sand directly. So you basically have to jump down, run for 5 minutes, climb up a rock, run to the next one, that kind of thing.
My concern is that I don't imagine that none of us are actually Freeman trained to walk without rhythm. So I think there's probably two of us that can manage it fairly easily. And then there's two of us that I don't know how successful they would be. So I would prefer as a group for us to stick together and go from rock to rock. But I'm just expressing that to the group now. And really, I'm not doing any good, what's it called? Role playing right now. But that's the opinion of the Mentat, is that we should probably take the long road, but the safer road of going from outcrop to outcrop.
I would say that's a fair tactic. It's a good choice. I would also say that all of your characters are talented and skilled enough and are familiar enough with Dune to learn quickly. If you wanted to show them this type of walking, they may screw it up a little bit, but could figure it out. It's not impossible, is what I'm saying. If you wanted to take the direct route and get to the base or the outcropping quickly and limit your exposure to the desert, you could try to show them. If you wanted to take this more indirect route, it would probably tax your resources and your bodies a little bit, but it would be a little bit safer.
So then, like a second point of order, again, there's two of us with some level of command, probably, but on two different chains of command between Sharah and Anna. And so I think the question really rightfully would be, in this particular situation, is there one person in command, or are we working as a loose democracy, so to speak?
I think that's a great question for the group to figure out.
What do y'all think?
I believe it's always proper to work within parameters of cooperation when we need to.
Sounds like a non-answer.
Did it?
Very Bene Gesserit.
I mean, as long as you don't get us all killed, I'll follow your lead.
All right.
I'll follow
Well,
you if
I've,
you choose not to.
Very smugglery.
Doing the calculations, there's positives and negatives to each avenue that we could take. Really, the question may be, what kind of message do we want to send to these smugglers? If we take a clear and fast route, walking without rhythm, but going directly toward them, that may be viewed as a more aggressive stance towards them. As we are all aware, the Duke's preference is to win over individuals rather than fight them. And it would seem that if we were to follow the Duke's preference, that it may be more advantageous for us to take a circuitous route and present to these smugglers that we are not in a aggressive fighting stance, but rather in a exploratory stance and willing to make contact with them.
Would there be a way to perhaps signal them to have them come to us? Perhaps they have a transportation vehicle that could get us across the surface of the planet.
I'm gonna turn my eyes to Corbin, the ex-smuggler.
Yeah. I mean, could I try to do some sort of signal to them? Or would I just know as a smuggler that they're probably not going to do that, or they might do that? Like, what does my smuggling history say?
So your smuggling history tells you, added to the observation that this was a pretty small organization of tents. There was really only like 4 or 5. This is a small group of smugglers. They probably do not have a ship or a transport. They are probably a small group that was sent out to gather some spice where they could, and they're waiting for like a regular route that the smugglers follow for pickup by another ship.
Hey, Michael, check out your starting assets. You do have a contact.
I do have a contact among the spy smuggler community.
Ooh, look at that.
So it's entirely possible that my contact is here. But I still agree that this is such a small operation. This group at least probably is just like sifting sand or sifting spice. They don't have their own transport. There's probably one that comes by regularly. If it was already here, they would have been gone. So the fact that they're still here probably means that they don't. And I also agree with Sahara. Is it Sharah? Sharah. That if we take the brunt of the desert on ourselves and not put them at a increased risk of drawing a worm, that would put us in a good foot to begin these negotiations. So I also agree that we should go there by the longer route. I reserve the right to change that if the situation changes mid-course.
All right. So it seems like the group has pretty much agreed to take this this longer path.
Yes.
Cool.
Yep.
The path of least resistance.
The path of least resistance. So here's what we'll do for the sake of our stream and our game here. Let's make this a narrative montage. You are all going to be successful. You are all going to get there. This will simply mean you are out in the desert heat for maybe an extra 45 minutes or so. So that will put a little bit of an extra strain on your bodies, a little bit of an extra strain on your liquid resources, whether you are actually drinking some water from your precious water reserves or just drinking from the catch pockets in your still suits. You can get there without damage to yourselves. None of you are injured. Like I said, you are basically scrabbling down some rocks or jumping down, dashing across the desert, leaping up to another outcropping and waiting to see if a worm is suddenly rumbling out of the desert. Hasn't happened yet. I could say there's a couple close calls, or maybe one of you slips and the other one grabs you a little bit, or you have to help each other climb up or climb down a particularly tricky spot. But without too much extra time, you are able to get to this outcropping. Once you get up to it, it's really big. Like, this isn't just a rock you can sit on. It's like maybe 100-ish feet from its base. You can see that about halfway up, there is a natural cave opening, and there are some ropes to traverse to the top of the outcropping down to that cave opening, like a rope ladder and some rappel lines. And you can't see it from the bottom because of how the rock is angled, but at the top there are also those tents that you observed from the crash site. There is a path up this outcropping. It's kind of like a spirally with some cutbacks, switchbacks is the word I was thinking of, to walk up. You could try to climb up the rock face, but why would you do that? That's ridiculous.
Crazy talk.
Yeah. So, do you want to just walk up to the top?
Has
I think so.
Like, called out to us yet or made themselves
No.
obvious?
No. At this point, you did see some additional movement, but you have not heard a voice. No one has called out to you. No one shot you.
Hey, it's going good so far.
Yeah.
Great so far.
Could have been much worse.
Yep.
No aggressive action has been taken. By some grace of God, no worms have leapt out of the desert to eat you. No one calls out to you now that you're at the base of this outcropping, but logic dictates if they saw your crash, they're probably sitting there waiting for you to get there when you're tuckered out.
All right. And I will take it as a sign of friendship and not like goodwill that we will climb the rope, because that puts us clearly in their, like, if they cut the ropes while we're climbing, it would be bad for us. So the fact that we use the ropes is actually a sign that we trust them, and we will climb the ropes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not a hard climb.
Oh, I thought you said this is not a good idea.
This is a terrible idea.
Here's
No.
where we die. Oh, wait.
Now, this is not a hard climb, and all of you are accustomed to this type of physical effort. This isn't something you've never done before, but it is exhausting. You're tired. You climb up, you're about halfway up, you're at the cave opening, and you can see it's a big old cave opening, probably eroded from the wind and sandstorms here. You can easily see personal belongings of smugglers, of people. You see some glow lamps, you see some sleeping bag packs, some frem kits. The cave opening just kind of goes back and then takes a dive at a downward angle, so you can't really see that far into the cave, but clearly this is where they go to escape the harshest environment. There's no one there, though. And you can keep on climbing, and you get to the top of this outcropping, and you climb up to the top. You're all panting, and there are there are 8 figures standing there in a rough semicircle, and they all have blades drawn.
Right. I will draw my blade, and it'll be that scene in the movie where it looks like it's going to go one way, but then I'm going to flip the blade around and then hold it out to them hilt first as an offering again of goodwill and like peaceful negotiations.
You hear some kind of quiet talking, some mumbling and muttering from behind still suit masks and cloaked faces. And one of the figures stands up and walks forward a little bit. Greetings. Why are you in our territory?
Okay, I am the smuggler, but I don't know that I'm the face of this particular group. So I'm going to look around, see if someone else wants to talk. I will, but I'm going to let someone else jump in here if they want to.
Sharah is going to turn and pointedly look at Anna.
Anna glides forward and takes that moment in that movement to try to completely focus herself as much as she can so that she looks like she is not as tired as she actually is. She wants to look like she's completely just, the climb didn't bother her. The heat's not bothering her. She is in control. She's going to step forward. We have been sent by House Atreides to inquire as to your purposes out here.
As you step forward, the remaining figures who are still a couple paces back, you quickly see them, and this is more obvious to you with your Bene Gesserit training, but still equally obvious to everybody else, that there's a quick shift forward and a shift of their weight as if to attack you, but more of a preventative, not like they're lunging to attack you, but they're like even more ready because they think you might be aggressive. But as you speak, kind of you catch them by surprise because they didn't expect that voice to come out of that figure. And then when you drop the name House Atreides, they're like, whoa, this is kind of a big deal. So the figure that had stepped forward to speak turns to you. It is amusing to think that a noble house has the time to worry about men like us, especially when the Harkonnen threat looms large in their home.
Oh, quite the opposite. House Atreides, as they will be coming to arrive at this planet, they want to make sure that they are looking upon everyone who they will have to live amongst and to govern over. They want to make sure that all the relationships here will be bound in truth and in good gesture.
I have heard that the Duke is a good man, but I have also seen the devastation when he engages with his foes. I do not want that devastation on me and my men, but I am suspicious of an offer from someone like this who has never met us.
I would like, if I can, to again, sort of like I guess thieves can't from D&D. I want to try to do like a hand signal or drop some sort of like secretive phrase to let them know that I am a smuggler, to sort of help support honest negotiation. That like I too was once on this side of it, to like encourage them that it's possible that we can come to an accord and they won't just be murdered because they're smugglers, but subtly.
Cool. Casual like.
Casual, yeah. I don't know.
Casual
fly
murder.
casual.
Real casual like.
All right. So let's have you make a roll. I am going to call this a communication test.
I would say, well, okay, I'm good with that because that's my best score.
Nice.
But I also have bartering and gossip. So maybe like a bartering roll. But I also have smuggling. That was kind of what I was going for originally, is that I have smuggling as a skill. Is there a way to communicate to them that I am a smuggler secretively? Like that's what I'm trying to get. Like, we're on the same team, sort of a thing.
Right. So for the listener here, what we are kind of debating is on which of these, forgot the word I was going to use, which of these skills to use. And we're looking at the related focuses of those skills. If I remember correctly, the skill has to be used for the focus to apply.
Okay.
Because the focus essentially gives you a bonus to your roll. Right. So here is what we can say. If you want to make this a communication roll, because you are more skilled at communication, you can do that, but you would not be able to use that smuggling focus. If, however, you want to, because your smuggling focus is attached to your understanding skill, which is a little bit lower. It would be a harder role to communicate in that way, but it is certainly possible.
So I still like that idea. I think that's what I'm trying to accomplish. Makes more sense to me to be my drive of duty, because I have to watch out for those who watch your back. So I feel like I'm watching out for smugglers. I am a smuggler, but that I'm going to use my smuggling. So I will be able to use those focus, but I will have a slightly lower roll. But I would like to use momentum to add a D20.
Oh,
perfect.
I haven't done that rule yet.
Nice.
Cool. So with those numbers added together, you have to roll an 11 or under.
Yep.
You have 2d20. Naturally, you're going to use the 1 point of momentum we have in the pool to give yourself 3d20. I'm just trying to check something real quick. With the focuses, when you're using a focus, I believe.
Can I use both? Because like the way I'm describing it, I am, but I don't know if mechanically, can I get momentum off either of those rolls, or is it only one?
Hold on, I'm just checking something else real quick. Okay, focus applies. So yeah, you can spend the momentum. And then I don't remember if you can't generate momentum on a roll that you have spent momentum on.
I believe you can, but I could be mistaken.
I'm going to say you can unless Al tells me no.
Yeah. Well, Al. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, come on, Al. Break the game or make the game worse for it. I mean, help us.
Okay, so yeah. You can spend the 1 momentum in the pool. Because we are using your smuggling focus, if any of your dice roll under a 5, it's a crit. So that's 2 successes.
Okay. So I have 2 successes.
And you would ask Michael about your focuses. I believe you can apply multiple focus bonuses as well.
Okay.
I could be mistaken about that too, though.
Yeah,
I'm comparing this to Star Trek that I have played. I haven't played this. Might be slight differences. I don't know.
But I rolled 3 d20s. I got 2 successes. One of those a natural 1, which would be under my focus. So it's a total of 3 successes.
And a 1 is a crit success anyway.
Okay.
No matter what focus
Nice.
or skill you aren't using.
Cool.
So it should be 4, right? Who's got the 2 plus 1 more?
So you got a 1. That gives you 2 successes right there.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other die result that gave you a success?
8. So it's under the number, but not under the focus.
So
But
that's
the one's
only.
under the focus too, right? So it still gets you.
Do you get it both?
I think so.
Let's say. Okay.
Let's double dip.
Yeah, let's double dip.
Yeah.
Let's
Hey,
do it.
We're not professionals at the RPG Academy. We're just trying to go through the sample adventure.
Yeah.
All right.
So all that to say that I have successfully communicated to this person that I true am a smuggler, but this is all why Anna is negotiating. So this is all on the DL. No one knows it, but I'm like, I see. Okay, listen,
Right.
This is important.
So you got 4 successes.
Yep.
You did not know this, but the difficulty of that was a 2. So
Okay.
you have 2 net successes in your momentum pool.
Cool.
Yeah, Corbin is able to, with some very subtle hand motions. Sign language in Dune is a huge thing. So yeah, you're doing the
Like
hand
baseball
sign.
signals.
Yeah.
Taking my
So
cap
you're doing
off.
that.
He's either
Yeah,
a
you-
smuggler or he told me to steal third. I'm not sure which.
Either way, I'm going to jump off this cliff and find home base. No. So yeah, you are able to successfully communicate as Anna is speaking. The figure that Anna is speaking with, out of the corner of their eye, is seeing you do this. And as Anna continues to speak, they very subtly kind of shift over to give you a little bit more of their view, but while also keeping an eye on Anna and keeping that conversation going.
Am I
And
able to notice his shifting and his notice of something behind
100%.
me?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. I will then say, I will kind of adjust my approach then slightly, and I will say, House Atreides is willing to make deals and willing to speak with any member of any person from any walk of life. I myself am a member of the Sisterhood of the Bene Gesserit. Behind me,
As
You'll-
soon as you say that, a couple of the people are like, witches, and they make like the evil, the protection against the evil eye sign.
Mhm.
Talia like puts her head in her hands and just kind of shakes her head.
Behind me, you will find a Mentat as well as a former smuggler and a person
I
from the
look
planet
aghast.
here
Who, me?
who have all seen the merit of joining with House Atreides in common and kind interactions. This
So
could be gifted to you as well.
Anna, you picked your words perfectly. And that is one of the tropes and traits of Bene Gesserit is language control and reading a person's body language, being perfectly social aware, and using words surgically, to put it simply. So you picked these words. You saw what Corbin was doing out of the corner of your eye. You mirrored your body language. You supported what he was saying with what you were saying. You picked words based on the body language response of the person you're speaking with to hit perfectly home. And you get your message across. The person you're speaking with kind of pauses for a moment. Well, when all is said and done, it is the Harkonnens are swine, and what we
I
could.
spit when they say that.
What are you doing?
It was a Fremen, but these aren't Fremen. We were able to eke out survival under the Harkonnen thumb, and yet we lost many good men to their blades. If what you are saying is true, which I am hesitant to believe, but I am willing to see how far this goes. Perhaps we can make a suitable business arrangement between all of us. And as this conversation is concluding, one of the figures in that kind of back line, that semicircle that this main one stepped out from, suddenly turns, looks out in the desert, and then jumps to their feet and speaking to the figure you have been speaking with. Hassan, the warning bells. And the rest of the figures all jump up and they run to the edge of this rock outcropping, and you all see a ship land, another thopter land, very near to the base of this outcropping. And it is not hard.
Reinforcements?
No, it is not hard to see the Harkonnen flag.
Oh boy.
So we will move into a new scene.
Uh-huh.
The Harkonnen soldiers are piling out of this thopter, and they are rushing up the path to. Well, I'll say it splits into two groups. The majority of them rush to the base of this rocky outcropping and try to run up the path towards you, that longer route. A couple of them stand at the base of the cliff and don't do anything. And tactically, you think this is maybe to cut off anybody that might be coming out of a secret entrance, or if someone jumps out of that cave opening or tries to get to the thopter. But the majority of this group of armed soldiers is rushing up the cliff towards you. So, hey, what do you want to do?
Yeah. Well, any chance to take out some Harkonnen is a good chance. Who amongst us would be the most battle tested?
Talia's like already got her knife out, and she
Right.
has a very large smile.
Yeah.
I'll
All right.
draw my knife and then stand behind Talia.
Are there any
I'm right behind you.
loose rocks?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, sweet. How big are they?
Not a boulder, but not a pebble. Right in between.
Mm. So, nice fist size, maybe.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
When they come around the corner, hit them with the rock.
We'll go
It's
to the
just
edge.
throwing them.
They
At
go to
them.
the edge and try and drop a few rocks on these guys that are coming up.
Ooh, nice. I like that.
Okay. So I'm gonna say that this is kind of using the environment to try to eliminate some of these foes early. So this is kind of creating an asset or a trait that we could use. Let's have a roll for how you would kind of set that up tactically to make sure it functions the way you are thinking it does.
Excellent. So that's like understanding, right? A little bit of deductive reasoning, maybe.
Sure. Yeah, feels good to me.
And also my justice. I love my statement next to justice. It says, justice isn't always fair.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, nice.
So,
True story.
all right. So here we go. So that's a 6 and an 8. That's 14 to beat. A 10 and a 3. Hot dog.
Nice.
So the 3 is going
And-
to be below the focus. So that's 2 successes. And the 10's an additional one. So 3.
Yeah, so you got 3 successes. That was again a difficulty 2, so you got 1 extra momentum in the pool.
Excellent.
You are able to set this up. You toss down a couple, and you're able to successfully knock out 3 of the soldiers running up the hill towards you. You also have it set up so that it's kind of primed to trigger a little bit of a sand slide or a rock fall if you need it to, for whatever reason. But the rest of them are getting up to the top of this cliff face for combat. Initiative combat here in these kind of systems is kind of popcorny. We don't really roll initiative or anything. One side goes and then the other side goes. I will let this side go first. So one of you may choose to go first. You can also do something called holding. I believe what's it called? Man, I'm doing such a bad job tonight. After you
fine.
take after you take your turn, it would go to the other side. You can spend 2 momentum to keep the initiative and let someone else on your side go, but then the other side has to go. So you can't just keeping the initiative. If you had that much momentum to spend, you can basically do it once. You get 2 turns and then they get to go, and it just bounces back and forth. Since you saw them coming, since you had the smugglers and their warning bells, you as a side can go first. So one of you can pick to go. You could just declare that the smugglers attack first because they're kind of on your side now. It's really whatever you want to do.
How much
go.
momentum do we have? Just the
There's
one still?
3 in the pool.
Oh, 3. Okay.
And just,
I'll
If
go
we were
if you
sitting
guys
at a
don't
table,
mind.
I'd probably have poker chips in the middle of the table to show you.
just a quick shout out. Kaylee, Rook and Rasp jumped in and said hello.
Oh,
Hi, Rick and Rasp.
hey guys. Since I was kind of on point, as the first one comes up over the edge, I'll go first,
Cool.
and I'm going to use one of my talents.
Go for it. Tell us about it.
So I'm going to use the slow blade. When you make an attack during a duel or a skirmish, which this is,
Mhm.
using a melee weapon, and you buy 1 or more dice by spending momentum. So I'm going to buy a d20 with momentum.
Okay.
You may choose one of the enemy's assets in the same zone as your attack. You can ignore that asset during your attack. So, can you help explain what that means a little bit for people who aren't well versed in the rules, Caleb?
Like any of us are well versed. So
Caleb, I'm setting you up.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Look
you.
good. Look good.
Thank you.
It's your moment.
So
Time to shine.
Let's screw this up.
No. So the assets are essentially gear. In a longer game, assets can be tangible gear like your knife, your ship, your shield.
Okay.
A non-tangible asset could be blackmail material, a contact, that kind of thing. So, in this particular case, the soldiers are rushing towards you. You can choose to ignore their personal shields.
All right. Then that is what I'm going to do on this first attack.
Mhm.
As he comes up, I dart in like I'm going to do a hard slash, and at the very last moment, the blade slows to a crawl to pierce his shield.
Mhm.
I'm going to use battle. I have a focus in dirty fighting. So while the blade, looks like I'm going for like a chest, I'm actually going to swap an undercut.
Yep.
Into a very sensitive place. And this is going to be power, and which I also have a statement. Power comes at a knife's edge.
That's just so fitting.
Very fitting.
So what do the focuses give me again?
So the focus means when you roll any number under the skill gives you
Okay.
2 successes instead of just 1.
Okay. So I have okay, got it.
So
my
in this
total
case-
my total is a 15. I have an 8
Right.
and a 7.
Right.
So if I roll anything under 8 or 7, they'll count as 2 successes.
Yes,
Okay, got it.
probably.
We shall see. Hey, that's a pretty good roll there. I got a 4 and a 6 and a 15. So I got 3 successes base, 5 successes because of my 2, my statement and my focus. Right?
Yeah, let's say yes. I feel like that's right. So
Okay.
in this particular case, for our listeners, when a player character is targeting an NPC like this, I am rolling the NPC's skill or a test for them technically, and then that number of successes is the difficulty the players have to beat for that attack. It's kind of like an opposed roll, but not quite an opposed roll if we get down to the nitty gritty of it. So in this case, they only had 1, and you have 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's like
So-
better.
That's 4 better. We're good
You're
at
right,
math sometimes.
Way to go.
Who's the Mentat now?
You can count real good up to 4.
All right. So this Harkonnen just drops. Perfect blow. They are bleeding out. They are completely eliminated. And you have opened up you've created a wonderful opening for the rest of battle. If your side would like, you can spend 2 of those momentum to keep the initiative and attack again, or it would go to the Harkonnens for their turn.
Now, with those extra successes, did I gain any momentum?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how much momentum did I gain then?
So you gained 4.
Okay.
So we're at 7, but you could spend 2 right now. And
well, we were at 3. I spent 1.
Right.
So we should be at 6.
Okay.
Yes, we are at 6.
Yeah, we're at 6.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think with Talia having gone in for a slash to the chest and then in turn, like flipping the knife in her hand and then coming up with it to just eviscerate him in a very unfriendly place.
Like the back of a Volkswagen?
More of a genital location. She then kicks the screaming Harkonnen over the edge, sending him bowling through some of his friends. And yeah, I'm going to spend 2 of those 4 momentum that I picked up and let our team go again.
And we have a Wilhelm scream.
What Anna would like to know is, do I, with my passive scrutiny, see the individual who might be the leader of this Harkonnen group coming in here?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to slowly, very cautiously, like I'm just out for a stroll, start making my way down towards that person in a roundabout way so that they do not see me coming.
So, based on Talia's actions, you have an excellent opening.
Okay.
So what her quick, brutal strike plus kind of throwing the body at some of the other soldiers combined with your Parabindu training for just excellent movement, you're able to just kind of sidestep the view and you have a clear shot at the captain of this guard if you would like.
Awesome. Does the captain see me currently?
I'm going to say no based on current events.
Okay. I would like to, with just the very smallest flick of a hand, there is suddenly a long, not very long, but long for what it actually is. It looks like a brooch comes off of my lapel and flings through the air. So it looks like a small knife that basically comes out of nowhere, flies forward. So with my battle and I'm going to call this my duty, because I want to make sure that everybody here is going to be able to survive our negotiations to get back to House Atreides. I do have a focus and sneak attack, so
I'm going to say that counts.
That'll help.
You got to beat 2.
Got to beat 2, okay. Would everybody be okay if I bought a momentum?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Do it.
Okay, that puts us at 3, and I'll have 3 dice then.
Yep.
All right, so my dice pool that I'm using, one is my battle is a 6, and my duty is at 8, so that's a 14 I have to roll. Oh yeah, 3, 5, 8.
Nice.
Holy shit!
Good roll.
So now it has to be below what the focus is for. So it has to be below my battle of 6.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you got 5 successes total. That's 3 net. So your momentum pool is back up to 6.
Yes.
You throw this little transformer knife. He was not paying attention. He was distracted. You perfectly throw this like stiletto blade in that little crease between his helmet and his chest, his body armor, down for the count. He drops. He rolls to the ground, bleeding out.
Should we keep messing these guys up, everybody, or what?
I think they have to go next, right? Didn't you say?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it will go to the Harkonnen's turn now. Harkonnens are, battle hardened, but they're also, tactical. So they are going to pull back from their initial rush and and kind of form up at the top of that rock path. Two of them are going to kind of towards the back draw out some rifles and take a couple shots at some targets. Luckily, the smugglers are just kind of closer targets. So we're going to see what happens around here.
It's a good thing I'm a criminal, not a smuggler.
Well, at the heat of the moment, the smugglers know this rock outcropping very well. They've been mounted here. Their camp has been here a while. They're able to duck behind some smaller outcroppings. The panic and the quick turning of battle on the Harkonnens, their shots go wide. So they miss everybody. And it is back to your turn if someone would like to take another action.
So just a clarification, just again, learning the rules. So as the GM, let's say they were going to shoot at us, could we say we're going to hide behind these same rocks and that would increase the difficulty of their attack on us? Or because that's an opposed roll, because we roll like, again, how would that work if we wanted to narratively say like we have cover, so for example?
What I'm hearing is Michael would like one of the enemies to shoot at him.
That's what I heard too. Yeah.
That is
In fact,
100% what I heard.
Not what I want.
You're doing a
Definitely.
great job of introducing assets within the constructs of your environment, though.
Yeah, so
I mean,
you
you've
would
created those
basically,
assets.
an asset in this case would be like a rock to hide behind. So you could roll to create that asset. That would both create it so that other people can use it and kind of generate the target that they would have to beat to shoot you.
Okay.
And then since you have that asset, it would be harder.
Okay. So I would like to go
You can,
for our turn.
yeah, go for it.
I would like to create a rock that I can then hide behind. And then I would like to shoot them with my pistol because I already have that listed as an asset. I have a Mala.
A Maula pistol.
Mala pistol.
It's a gun.
I have a gun.
Pew pew.
Yeah.
You have a pew pew.
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 Okay, so you could simply spend a momentum to create that asset
Okay.
if you want. You do have 6,
I would
which is the
suggest-
most you can have.
Let's use one of those. Is it one?
All right.
Or is it 2?
2.
It's cool. Use them.
Rock.
Yeah.
I have created
So-
rock.
So I interpret this very much like aspects in Fate, where you can create them and then use them through the rest of the scene. Currency is a little bit different, but yeah. Okay, so you've got that there that anybody else can use to hide behind if they need to. And if you want to take a shot at them, go ahead.
I will do that. So is that a battle with?
think-
I'm gonna say truth because I have a statement that everything catches up with you in the end. And these
Ooh, I like
Harkonnen
that.
Have done this to themselves.
I like that a lot.
So I get 2 die, correct? You
And
always
that-
roll 2.
Yep, you always roll
This
2.
is what they get for sabotaging your thought.
That's right.
That's it. That's it.
All right, I got 1 success, and it is under my statement or under my drive that I'm using the statement with. So I guess 2 successes.
That's 2 successes. All right, so that is a successful strike, and that one's down.
So how does damage? Because we're not rolling for damage. Is it just like one hit usually kills things, unless it's like a named bad guy sort of thing?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
If you've got a minion or a minor NPC, minor supporting character, if you tag them successfully, they're out of the fight.
Okay.
And they may not be dead; they're just out of that conflict,
Okay.
right? If it is a named character, or if you were fighting, Kaylee for whatever reason, then there would be basically a track of successes
She
that
would
you would
kill
have to. She would definitely come. It'd be think of it almost like an extended skill check.
Okay.
Oh no.
Oh, she's now we're just crossing franchises. I don't know what's going on anymore.
Caleb, does this look familiar?
Yes, it does look familiar. That's a Hellfire saber from Deluxe Sabers.
This would be Illogical.
No, too many. No.
What's going on?
Oh, wait, we're crossing the streams.
Talia, are you out of your fucking mind?
Don't cross the streams. Important safety tip. Thank you,
Too
Michael.
late for all this. Okay, so yeah, you knock that one out. Would we like to spend some more momentum to keep the initiative, or should we throw it back to the Harkonnens?
So, again, I apologize, but so do we have like a number of Harkonnen that we have to take out, or is there like a momentum of the scene that will decide that we've won the battle? Like what is the win condition here?
In this particular case, it's when the soldiers are dead.
Okay. And how many
So-
soldiers are left? Not dead.
I should have been keeping track of that
We
while I was
killed
trying to look at the rules.
3.
Player number of players times 4.
Not that many.
God.
That's too many.
There were
With our
8 that we
moves,
started
I mean.
with, so
Yeah, and you took out
5 at this point.
yeah, because you threw some rocks at them. So there's 3 left standing.
Okay. Then I would say, yeah, let's keep the momentum and try to take another one out so that they have less attacks
Okay.
to us. So my count, we have 4 momentum, so we'll be down to 2.
Down to 2 momentum.
And I would tag, I think Sharah is the only one that hasn't gone yet.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, do I have to go? Because I am not a fighter. I mean, I can do it.
You're a
but-
lover.
Can you do something to like benefit us? Can you rah us or
No,
Yeah,
like
affect the
you-
scene, create an asset, something like that.
create an asset? Create more rocks or something. I don't know.
Well, I will say that because you did kind of set up that rockfall earlier, you could make use of that since they have pulled back a little bit from that front line of combat to
Well, I was wondering
potentially
about
take the rest of them out.
all right. Well, we'll give that a shot then.
Okay. So we're still going to make a check here. What do you think would apply?
Well, I mean, I set it up.
Mm-hmm.
I set it up using understand, so I would assume that I'd probably trigger it using understand as well.
Yeah, I would count understanding for this because you are tactically approaching the use of the environment along with what you've already set up. So what drive would apply? Or would you like to use, I should say?
Well, I kind of feel like I'd be a little bit shaken at this point in time. So I think maybe my duty is the only thing that's really pushing me forward currently.
Yeah, I agree with that. So that gives you a total of 12.
Yeah.
So that's your target to roll under.
How much momentum do we have?
2.
I would like to spend one,
Yeah, absolutely.
and hopefully this will work out.
It will. It will.
It will.
Michael used up all of our bad karma already. So
Yeah, I
True.
got it out of the way early.
Yeah,
Like,
we appreciate
one-
that.
I've got a 2, which is a success.
Yep.
Times 2.
Yep.
And then I've got a 12. Is it below an or meeting? Or
It's the
is-
target number
okay,
or
so
under.
12
So
still
yeah,
works.
yeah, that hits.
All right, so three successes.
Perfect. So you needed 2 to succeed. So you spent momentum and earned 1 back with
Yeah.
with a net 1.
So my count's 3 in the momentum pool.
2.
2.
Two
Because we
now,
had
yep.
2, he used 1 and
Got
it.
earned
Got one
2
back.
back.
Yep.
So
I like to think that I'm close to Corbin, and I kind of after I trigger it, just kind of collapse against him, like, oh, thank God.
yeah, definitely. So you trigger this kind of rock fall and sand fall. It knocks the rest of them to their feet, kind of pushes them back down the outcropping, this outcropping a little bit, with the quick and brutal response to them, plus eliminating their captain so quickly, they're completely shaken. And even though the Harkonnens are brutal fighters, they still have a survival instinct. So they're going to run.
we're gonna give chase because we now have a thopter we can take home.
Yes.
Yes, you do. And as
Plus,
you
we didn't tell them they could leave, so
That's right.
That's a good point.
So as you move to make chase, the smugglers who you have just made wonderful friends with pull out their long rifles.
Oh, there
And
you
from
There's
perfect
a children present.
Not
those are
those
their-
kind of long
those are their
rifles.
short and
Oh.
wide rifles.
Oh,
They pull out their long rifles and from I'm sorry, Caleb.
They're for
I'm
fighting, not for
sorry.
fun.
Everything's for fun.
Caleb, we're going to be talking about this later in therapy, just so
Yes,
you know.
it's true.
I'm sorry. So from their vantage point at the top of this outcropping, they're able to snipe the rest of these soldiers quickly. So within a matter of moments, while these Harkonnens did attack you, they are quickly eliminated, and the Thopter is in perfect working condition. And we're going to bring this to a conclusion here with a wonderful cliffhanger. The Thopter is in perfect working condition, which is wonderful to hear because what's that on the horizon?
That's no Dune.
That's no Dune.
That's Wormsign.
That's a sandworm.
That's no
Dun,
dude.
dun, dun.
And for the first time since we landed, a single bead of sweat drips down Anna's forehead.
So there is a sandworm bearing down on you and this outcropping drawn by everything that has occurred in the last half hour.
Still the
and
Harkonnens' fault?
it's definitely the Harkonnens' fault. They made you crash.
Yeah.
Of course.
That was worse. And there is a massive worm coming out of the sand like a shark to eat y'all up.
And
Now,
even though we're on a
baby
100
worm
foot
do.
tall, rock outcropping, the worm could eat it too, right? Like we
Yes.
can't just stay here and be okay.
No.
Okay, that's fine.
This
Depends.
so none of your characters would know this, but this is a small worm, and it could still devour all of this.
Great.
And that's not even breaking a sweat. If you remember from the newer movie, it's just like a big gaping maw
Yeah.
of buzzsaw trying to come at you. Even the old movie, like with the
Yeah.
Yeah.
it would
Pac-Man?
Yes,
right.
it's Pac-Man.
And then we
I
also
was gonna say the Langoliers, but that wasn't a good adaptation either.
Oh no, that's terrible.
Yeah, kind of Audrey 2 coming at you. Yeah.
There we go.
So yeah, the pre-written adventure does continue through a few more scenes. However, we did want to try to keep it to a reasonable time here because we're all grown-ups and are tired.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say we're going to end this on that cliffhanger. And there we are. Stumbled through a lot of the rules, but I think we had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
for sure. A lot of fun.
I
Yeah.
think we
But that was fantastic.
kind of learned the rules too. That's what we were trying to
Yeah.
accomplish.
So do we want to take a few minutes here and maybe kind of debrief and discuss the rules and the setting a little bit, or?
Yeah, we got
Sure.
a few more minutes. We do have a
Yeah.
couple people that are watching, so thank you. I
Oh,
think it's probably rookie
Hi,
last.
watchers.
But if anybody has questions for us as the players or Caleb as narrator or rules explanations, we'll be happy to address those if we can.
Don't ask us about the rules, please. I've made terrible mistakes tonight.
Oh,
So I will say I have played the Star Trek version of 2D20 before, and I have been
I
currently
have
been
too.
reading the Conan book because I want to do a sample adventure of it. So I had read a little bit. I know there's definitely some similarities, but there's also some differences in that version. But I feel like it's pretty simple. Again, there's always room for errors because we're learning things, but basically you combine two things that gives you a number. You roll under that number. If you roll under a focus or statement, that's a smaller number, then you get the bonus.
Yeah.
And I think the momentum, the only thing I don't think really came into play was the Doom pool or whatever the threat pool. Like,
threat pool,
could
yeah.
you have been using that against us? Did you? Maybe we
Yes.
just didn't articulate it.
So you're 100% right in that kind of summary. The threat pool is my version of momentum as a narrator or game master. I can use it to add d20s to my rolls for the NPCs against you. I can use it to add assets, add traits, buy off assets and traits that you might create or negate them. If you inflicted some sort of negative quality on me, I could use it to buy that off, that type of thing. As players, you also have the option to just add to the threat pool as if you were using momentum when you don't have momentum.
Okay.
So if you really wanted to buy 3 dice, because the cost of buying d20s escalates 1 for 1, 2 for 2, 3 for 3.
Oh, okay.
You could just add all of that threat, even though you had no momentum.
Right.
You essentially add 6 threat to me, give me 6 resources. You could buy 3 dice right off the rip and roll all 5.
Okay.
And
Nice.
but then I could use that all against you. I am very shaky on these rules, and was just saying I'm not going to use any of this threat because that's going to make it more complicated, and I just want to kind of get through this fun little shindig.
That's fine. And then I guess my only real question I had was, we did not fight like a named Nemesis style character. How would that have worked differently? Do they have hit points and like every success takes away their hit pool? Like how would that have worked if we fought each other or a named NPC?
So if you fought a named villain, like a boss or something, they would not have hit points. But as you, and if this party of 4 was going up against them, your number of successes would total up to a certain number based on the enemy's skills.
Okay.
So it's essentially hit points, but it's not really hit points because there's no hit points in this game. You would take their, I believe it's highest skill, and add a number to it based on the party, and that's how many successes you would have to get to take them out.
Okay.
Like,
So the same
so
rules.
as we succeed on skill rolls, that number goes down and down and down like hit points.
Yes,
But it's not really hit points
it's not really
by
hit points.
terminology. but-
Right. Mechanically, it's pretty much the same. Like if you had to get whatever 10 successes to take out this named NPC, and on your roll, Kevin, you got 3 successes, and his target was 2 for that turn. You would have succeeded with net 1,
Mhm.
so that net 1 would have gone to count down that 10 to 9,
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
and so on. Again, I may be totally wrong, and so
No, I think
I
you're
ha-
right. I think you're 100% right there.
Yeah.
I think that's
the other big thing, compared to the other Modiphius systems, unique to Dune is because Dune is a universe-wide setting. There is conflict on multiple levels. So you could do one-on-one combat, but you could also send your troops against their troops and have basically troop-on-troop combat. You could.
I'm into it.
Yep. This could be a more political combat where you are fighting with political assets. It could be a social combat. It could be more of a planet-wide fight with stocks and the bank,
Like a
you
blockade.
like a
A
blockade,
planetary
You use-
blockade.
which never works because it's like in one level you just go over them and then
Yeah. And
Yeah. Space
leave on the other side of the planet. Yeah.
Yeah. and then a child hits a wrong button and all your ships explode. So Dune
Well,
really
that's pod racing, Caleb.
is
That's pod
racing.
racing.
Voodoo.
Dune
I
really
think we just need a Firefly
emphasizes.
reference, so we've hit all the geekdom for sci-fi
Well,
stuff
we have a
tonight.
Kaylee. Like
We do
Oh,
have a
there we
Kaylee.
go. There it is.
And
It's
we
all
are-
spelled the same. So there we go.
It is
With
exactly.
with all of our flubs on these rules here, we are clearly aiming to misbehave.
That's right. That is right.
So Dune really emphasizes conflict on multiple levels. So if we were playing a campaign, you could create your own house at any point in the timeline that you want to play in. The core book really focuses on like present day Dune, which is roughly while Paul is emperor, and
Okay.
ignoring all the
Spoilers.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
whoops shit.
so. So
At least you didn't tell us he was God.
so.
That's not till his kids.
So I assume this would work, and this may be more for Al than for Caleb, but either of you. So let's say we're fighting like the main climatic battle of a campaign, and we're fighting like a named character, and I stab them with a vibro blade, and then Sharah or Anna tries to socially attack them. That would affect the same pool of hits. So you could have combat working that's like both physically hitting them and also trying to get them to surrender, and it would take from the same pool. Once it gets to 0, the battle would be over no matter how it got to that point.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Interesting.
I think
because
that's a
that
cool way to do that type of battle so you don't have separate mental hit points versus physical hit points. You just
Yeah.
have a pool.
It's
of
about
resources.
completing the scene,
Yeah.
basically.
that.
What were you going to say, Al?
Well, I was going to say, I see that playing out like the climax in the Lynch movie, where you've got the stuff
Yes.
happening on the outside at the same time that there's stuff happening on the inside. I
Yes.
mean, I don't envy the DM that's trying to get you through that scene. I think it would be fantastic to play it. Yeah.
Would be.
Right, absolutely. But you can also kind of play on the feudal system of the franchise that you may have two political opponents fighting back and forth with a war of assassins or financial restrictions on each other, but when they come face to face, maybe they're just going to say, well, let's just have a duel. So it boils down to physical conflict at the end of it, but there are multiple options, kind of multiple levels of hosting the campaign, so to speak. I also really like this system. I'm very much attracted to a roll under system nowadays, so that's kind of fun. I think it also really delivers that Dune experience where the environment and the setting is so difficult and oppressive. You're really struggling against it. You don't have the chance to be a big damn hero. There's another one.
Nicely done.
Like you do in D&D or Shadowrun or Identico. You're
Right.
You're barely surviving sometimes.
Hey, wait a minute. Actually, I have to correct our entire group here, including myself. Very early on in the episode, I believe we did utter the phrase, "Who's flying this thing?" That is Wash from Firefly.
True. That was it.
So
That was it right there.
we had that base covered. We're good.
Yep. Good. Nice save.
Yeah.
Nice save.
So
No, it scratched my itch. Thank you, Caleb, for doing this. I really
Yeah.
appreciate
Thank you.
Yeah.
you're
Awesome.
welcome.
Didn't
Thank
play
you
this
all
for
for
a long
playing
time.
and joining. Thank you for any listeners now or in the future. And Michael, if you want to wrap us up and close it out.
Yeah, so we will go around the horn. Everybody has a chance again to do their own plugs. But for anyone who is now watching or listening in the future, we call these the sample adventures. The idea here is we are exploring a bunch of different systems through the sample adventure that is included in the core book or the quick start rules most of the time. There are a few very small exceptions we've done. We have several of these that are already out, might be on the YouTube channel, the YouTube/the RPG Academy, or a podcast only. We want to do many more of these. We have a whole 70 different games that we are planning to tackle in order at some point in time. I believe the next one that we have coming up is either a Star Wars or Engine Heart, I think are the two that are probably closest to going, but we have many more coming in the future. These are irregular. We don't have a regular stream schedule for these, unfortunately. So if you would like to be part of these in the future, please make sure you follow us on our Twitch channel so you'll be notified when we go live. Also follow me on Twitter because I always post about it there. And again, guys, my name is Michael. I'm the host of the RPG Academy. You can find most of what I do there. I also have a game that I wrote that I'm currently in the process of getting published called Action 12 Cinema, which is
It's awesome.
based,
It's a great game.
B-movie simulator sort of thing, improv with friends and D12s. So thank you for watching and listening, and we'll go around. Everybody again can do your own plugs for whatever you feel like plugging. Al, I'll go to you next. Plug away, sir.
All right, Alan, Big Al Nicholas. I have nothing to plug. I'm on Twitter at Big Al the Lawyer.
Fair
That's
enough. Kev.
All right. Yeah, hi, I'm Kevin, and this was great to be back playing with you guys, so thanks for having me. I can be found online at the socials at KevRan Games. I am one of the 4 producers and game runners of Wanderers Haven Productions, which you can find on Twitch at Wanderers Haven. We're also on Twitter and stuff. And my really favorite thing that I'm doing right now is I was recently named the U.S. ambassador for La Notturna, which is a role-playing game out of Italy that's coming over here. It's a grimdark setting in a world where the sun no longer rises. So we do that on Fridays at twitch.tv/La Notturna. It's awesome. Come check it out. But
Holy
thank you.
moly,
for
that
having me.
sounds awesome.
Appreciate
Always
it.
welcome, my friend. Kaylee.
Well, you can find me most often every other week with my co-player Caleb over at the Identico Twitch channel playing Chaos Incorporated. A very, very fun cyberpunky type adventure with a lot of politics and a very large digital yarn wall that we're trying desperately to unravel. It's a lot of fun. So every Tuesday night or every other Tuesday night at 9 p.m. So not this week, the following week, which would be the 25th, you can catch Caleb and I on Identico. So that's the best place to find me.
Excellent. And then Caleb.
Yeah, I'm on the socials at the Caleb G. You can hear me over on Identico, like Kaylee just said. I will also be popping up on Identico After Dark, which is the Identico talk show this Wednesday, if you're listening to this in real time or soon enough to join it. So that's what, the 19th, where I think we're going to have a Mandalorian season 3 debrief with that finale coming up on that same day. You can also see some of my fundraising efforts, which are slowly starting to turn back to life over at point5past.org, on the socials, P5 past. And my plan is to get some big pushes coming out with that starting in May, because it is a Star Wars themed thing. And, May the 4th is a thing.
Excellent. And all the links to all the various things we plugged will be in the show notes, including Al's social, to make it easy for people. My only regret,
that's what we really want to take away is Al's Twitter.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the
rest
one.
of us are just window dressing.
My only regret, though, is this. I know nothing about Dune, but I have been sitting on the Fremenes joke. Like, these are my Fremenes, but we didn't use them, so unfortunately.
We would have gotten to Fremen if we had played through the entire Quick Start adventure. Yeah, Fremen would have showed up, but we took some time, do other shenanigans, and it's late.
Yeah, it is. But thank you again, everyone, for playing. Thank you, Caleb, for running. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for listening again now or in the future. And remember, as we always say here at the Academy, when I don't forget, if you're having fun,
you're doing it right.
Thanks, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much.